I've now finished knitting the first 24 rows of the pattern. So we started here with a garter stitch tab, and then we set up our 2 starting triangles. So the left hand triangle is all in garter stitch, and this triangle will remain as garter stitch throughout the pattern. And then this was the first section of welted knitting. So this stitch pattern is called welting, and I've done 24 rows of the welting pattern. We're now at the point where we're going to introduce a new increase point and a new stitch pattern. So to start the new increase point, we're still keeping the 3 garter stitches at the edge. So I'm going to knit the first 3 stitches, and then I'm going to work a yarn over. So I'm still increasing at the edge every row, and now I'm going to set up for the new stitch pattern. So I've done a yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, bring the yarn forward and slip 1, take the yarn back, and I'm now going to place a new stitch marker. So that's going to mark the edge of my new section, and I'm now going to continue across the welted knitting section, maintaining the pattern as it's already set. So I'll just be knitting across this section, and you will now continue to work the welting pattern as it's been set up across this section, but it will only increase at the left hand side of this section now. So if we get across in a minute, we'll again continue to work to 2 stitches before the stitch marker, as we did previously. So I'm coming up to the stitch marker now. So I'm 2 stitches before, so I'm going to bring the yarn forward, knit the next stitch, yarn forward, slip the next stitch, yarn back, slip the stitch marker, and then I'm going to knit to the last 3 stitches as I did previously for the left end triangle. So I'm going to carry on knitting, and I'm then going to knit all the way back to the new stitch marker to show you the wrong side row. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm just coming up to my stitch marker that I just placed on the wrong side row now. So I'm going to slip the stitch marker, take the yarn back so that I can knit the next stitch, yarn forward, slip 1, yarn back, knit the yarn over, because we're always going to knit the new yarn over, and then continue in the pattern as set. So in this particular case I'm going to purl the next 2 stitches. I'm now at the last 3 stitches, and because I'm going from a purl to a knit at the edge here, you can either just go straight over and make sure you keep that yarn over as long as possible, or I'm going to work a reverse yarn over, which means I take the yarn back between the needles and over the right needle from back to front, and knit the next 3 stitches. If you are going to work reverse yarn overs, which will give you a slightly larger yarn over at the edge here, you must remember on the next row, if I just start the next row, the yarn over will be seated on the left needle the wrong way round to normal. So you can either, once you've brought your yarn forward for the yarn over on this side, you can either turn it, or you could just work through the back loop. So I've just turned it, and I'm going to yarn over, knit one, and then the next 2 stitches are going to be purl stitches, because this next section is box stitch, which is knit 2, purl 2 for 2 rows, and then shift the position. So again, I'm coming up to 2 stitches before the stitch marker. I'm going to bring the yarn forward, knit the next stitch, yarn forward, slip 1, yarn back, slip the stitch marker, and now I'm going to continue on the welting pattern, and this time I'm going into a purl row, and I would then continue on with my pattern as before. So those are the 3 steps, or the 3 stages in this first part of the pattern. You'll continue working the new triangle with the new increase in box stitch, maintaining the welting pattern and increasing at the end of your welting, and also continue your garter stitch and increase at the outside edge. So you're going to work those patterns for another 24 rows, and then we'll be ready to start the next section, which will come up in part 2.